Evening. Welcome to the November 13th, 2023 Troy City Council meeting. We're honored this evening to have Ed Chesak provide our invocation, so please rise for that invocation and remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Source of life, source of love, blessed are you and blessed be your holy name. Open the walls of our hearts as our father Abraham opened his tents to greet visitors from afar. So may we accept one another in brotherly love. Holy One, as my Hindu brothers and sisters celebrate Diwali, may their festival of light be ennobling and enlightening to them as they draw closer to you, as they draw closer to each other, and may we draw closer to them as we go forward in harmony and in love. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ed. We'll officially call the November 13th, 2023 Troy City Council meeting to order. I'll ask for the roll call from Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Baker?
Here.
Councilmember Abraham? Councilmember Brooks?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Krenga?
Here.
Councilmember Erickson Galt?
Here.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Here.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Here.
This evening, we have no certificates of recognition and special presentations. We have no carryover items or public hearings, so we'll move right into public comment for items on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. We do have a handful of people signed up this evening. I'll remind everybody that the rules are stated in our council rules of procedure. You have 3 minutes to speak to all of us. That it's not a back and forth question and answer session. As the rules state, the clock will start when you begin. When the light turns yellow, you have 1 minute left. When it turns red, we ask you to please respect that time and stop. So, that said, first up is Ashok Badi. Always fun to go first, right off the bat, right?
Thank you, Mayor Ethan, and thank you, council members. My name is Ashok Badi. I'm a resident of Troy, and I also happen to be a founding member and trustee of a temple which is in Rochester Hills, Baba Temple. I would like to, begin with a small prayer. Again, so. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Again, let me take this opportunity and thank each and every one of you. It is really heartwarming to see, quite a few Troy residents come here and, be here as a part of the things that we would like to take this opportunity and thank you for celebrating Diwali by lighting up, the downtown of Troy. The message of Diwali, as we all know and has been repeatedly said, is to, have light over darkness. But what I would like to reiterate is that Diwali should not be seen as only a Hindu festival. And that is primarily because Hinduism is one faith which prays for the well-being of everyone. It is in our prayers that we pray for, and our prayers say, Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, which literally translates to everyone in this world be happy with the blessings of God, and may God bless every creature as well in this universe. It's not just, we don't pray saying only Hindus get the blessings or any such thing. So our prayer itself calls for every human being to be receiving the blessings of God. Having said that, I wouldn't be taking, I see the yellow light on, but again, it would be nice if that message goes across saying this is a universal festival and not necessarily just a Hindu festival. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to see me. Next up is Emraj Rana.
Hello, Mayor, and council members. I think there's a mistake happened. He was signing, so I thought, no, whoever is entering into the room has to sign. So I don't want to say anything, but I want to wish you all happy Diwali. And second, I'm living here with my family for past 11 years in Troy, and I got the best facilities. Thank you for that. Yeah, it was a mistake. I signed up actually. So my wife also followed. She also signed up, and then Jayant also followed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we don't want to take your time. Yeah, happy.
All right, so Ritu and Jayant and Helena? No, you're speaking tonight. All right. John Kulish.
Hi, it's been a while. I rise tonight to address agenda item I-05. But before I begin, I want to start with Charter Section 3.4. It states, City Council members and the mayor shall be elected for 4 terms of 4 years and shall serve until 7:30 on the first Monday following the regular election of the 4th year of their term. 737. The charter also provides that an organizational meeting shall be held on Monday following each regular city election. That's Charter Section 4.1. But the city now acknowledges that because the Board of Canvassers haven't declared the results, oaths can't be given. But oaths are necessary to take office per Section 6.9 of our charter. So to sum it up, at 7:30 tonight, we were legally down to 3 council members at a meeting required by the charter, and we can't give oaths to seat the winners of last week's election because of changes in the election law. The magical cure for this little mess is 6.7, which allows city council to fill vacancies. Now, 6.7 says City Council shall fill vacancies of an elective office that are declared vacant pursuant to Section 6.2 within 30 days by a majority vote of the remaining members of council. You can't act to fill the seats that are now vacant because you don't have a quorum to actually take action as a council. Could someone explain this to me? I'd really like a good explanation. I mean, the charter is a legal document, so I'd love to hear from the city attorney about how any of this meeting is legal right now. I would like to hear from any lawyer that can explain how any of tonight's meeting is permissible. I'll be waiting.
Thank you. That concludes those that have signed up for public comment for items on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. Now's an opportunity for City Council or City Administration to respond or reply. City Attorney Bloom?
Thank you, Mayor. So I just wanted to comment on Mr. Kalish's comments and indicate that we are in a very unique situation. And we have to try and do our best in trying to interpret what the laws are. There is a difference. The term election is distinguished from election day. And that's how we have interpreted that to remain consistent with our charter and also to try and uphold the spirit and the intent of both state law and also the city law. This is a situation that many communities are finding themselves in, and this is resulting from a change in the election law that was prompted by the changes in ballot proposal 2 voted by the voters of the state of Michigan. And with that, this was not specifically mandated by the voters in that initiative petition, but this is something that the Michigan legislature did implement, where it allowed for ballots to be returned until today's date. So the Board of Canvassers for the county has no way of certifying the election prior to this first meeting. There are also other charter provisions that require at least 2 regular meetings, so whatever we did, there were going to be some potential issues and potential conflicts. So this was the path. It would be irresponsible for council members, the council-elect, presumptive council-elect members, to take the oath of office until the election is actually finally concluded, and that is going to happen once the Board of Canvassers performs their statutory duty and declares the actual winners.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, that concludes City Council, City Administration response and reply to public comment for items on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. We have no postponed items this evening, so we'll move on to regular business. First up is I-1 Board and Committee appointments. There are no mayoral appointments this evening. We do have one City Council appointment, so I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Kranga for that nomination.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the reappointment of Jane Seeger to the Animal Control Appeal Board for the term expiring September 30th, 2026.
Support.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Kranga, supported by Councilmember Erickson Galt, that we approve the reappointment of Jane Sager to the Animal Control Appeal Board for the term expiring September 30th, 2026. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Kranga?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson Galt?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you for your service, Ms. Sager. That concludes City Council appointments this evening. Next up is I-2 Board and Committee nominations. I do have one mayoral nomination this evening. I'd like to move the nomination of Hemant Tadapalli to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for the term expiring April 30th, 2026.
Support.
Moved by the chair, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Kranga, that we approve the nomination of Hemant Tadapalli to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for the term expiring April 30th, 2026. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Kranga?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson Galt?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes, motion carries. That concludes mayoral nominations this evening. We don't have any city council nominations this evening. I-3, there's no request for a closed session, so we move on to I-4, election and oath of office for Mayor Pro Tem. City Attorney Bloom.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm not sure how much more I can add than what was already indicated in the response to the citizen comment, public comment. But this is something that it's again, because this is such an unusual situation, we are hoping that it's just a belts and suspenders, if you will. Again, we're trying to insulate the city from any future challenges. And there is a provision that does require you in the charter to take the presumptive new candidates to be sworn in within 10 days. And that obviously can't happen. Yes, Mayor.
This is the Mayor Pro Tem
I'm sorry.
election.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I just realized
Okay.
you were speaking, I think, more to the delay in of office?
Right. Yes.
Okay, my
I'm sorry.
apologies.
I'm sorry.
All right, is there anyone from, sorry, Lori, is there anyone from staff that's speaking specifically to I-4? All right, someone like to move a nomination? Councilmember Erickson Galt.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolved that the Troy City Council hereby elects Ellen Hoderick to serve as Mayor Pro Tem for the City Council of the City of Troy for a term scheduled to expire at the first council meeting in November 2024 pursuant to City Charter Section 3.7.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Erickson Galt, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Kranga, that we approve, that we approve I-4, which is the election of Ellen Hoderick to be Mayor Pro Tem for the term as stated in the resolution and the agenda. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Kranga?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson Galt?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Motion carries. At this time, our new Mayor Pro Tem will be sworn in, and we'll do some sweet citrine after.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution
in the state of Michigan, the charter of the city of Troy, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the office of Mayor Pro Tem in and for the city of Troy, county of Oakland, state of Michigan, according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Take a quick 5-minute recess so that we can move some seats around. Record. Next up is I-5, delay an oath of office. That'll be introduced by City Attorney Lori Grigg Bloom.
And I'm not sure what else I can say other than what I've already said before. So I'm here to answer any questions that you have.
And I will add that there was a late submittal, the memorandum was updated that relates to this item, so you didn't see that online. Does anybody have any questions for city staff? Everything looks weird. Everything looks different. I'll move I-5, delay an oath of office as printed in the agenda packet.
Support.
Moved by the chair, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick, that we approve I-5, delay an oath of office as printed in the agenda packet and subject to the late submittal memo. Any discussion? Vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Erickson Galt.
Yes.
Councilmember Hamilton.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick.
Yes.
Mayor Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Krenga.
Yes.
Sorry, Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Motion carries. That concludes regular business this evening. Next up is the consent agenda. Does anyone have an item they'd like to pull for further discussion? Councilmember Hamilton.
I'd like to move all items on the consent agenda as printed.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Hamilton, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick, that we approve all items on the consent agenda as printed in the agenda packet. Any discussion? The vote, Ms. Dixon.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Chamberlain Krenga? Councilmember Erickson Galton?
Yes.
Motion carries. If you're here for an item on the consent agenda this evening, they all have been approved. Next up is memorandums and future council agenda items. K1 is the announcement of public hearings. There are two this evening to announce. November 20th, 2023, a week from tonight, is the revised preliminary site plan and amendment to conditional rezoning agreement, JPLN 2023-0018, proposed homestead site condominium, east side of Livernois, north of Big Beaver, PIN 88-20-22-301, -007, -008, and -009, Section 22, zoned RT, one family attached residential zoning district. And also on November 20th, 2023, there'll be a community development block grant, CDBG 2024 funds, public hearing. As always, council review. Any questions? Everything's in there. There are no memorandums under K2, so we move on to public comment for items not on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. We have 4 people signed up this evening. Same rules as before, the 3 minutes. When the light turns yellow, you have 1 minute left. When it turns red, that means your time is up. So first up is Sarah Light. She'll correct me.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Sarah Light. I have been a resident of Troy since 2000, when I also joined Northminster Presbyterian Church, located on Big Beaver here in Troy. Tonight, I draw your attention to an escalating streak of vandalism we are experiencing as we seek to spread a message of love and inclusivity to those who live in, work in, visit, and commute through the city of Troy. I am joined by members of Northminster, as well as Shir Tikva and Central Woodward Church, who have similar stories that they could share. Northminster has a long history of believing that all individuals are loved, worthy, and welcome in our congregation, as our pastor will share with you in a few minutes. And as our diversity and inclusion statement reads in part, we value all members of the community. We consciously strive to create an environment of mutual respect, hospitality, and warmth, in which none are strangers and all may flourish. In 2020, our governing board voted to display a pride flag on our outdoor sign as part of this belief. Our Buildings and Grounds Committee purchased a flag and a mount that was attached to our sign along the sidewalk next to Big Beaver Road. In the winter of 20 to 21, we realized the flag was missing. After first assuming it was taken down by a member because of a snowstorm, we later concluded that this might have been a misguided prank or done on a dare. We replaced the flag soon after. This time we used a wooden pole which allowed us to secure the flag and pole to the mount with a few screws, making it harder to remove. On May 23rd, 21, we discovered that the wooden flagpole had been snapped off at the base and the flag was in our dumpster. At this time, one of our members discovered this 12-inch 2x4 with nails sticking out of it in our driveway. Luckily, our member saw it before anyone could drive over it. But we did not think to connect it with what was happening with our pride flag. Our third flag was a pride flag on a PVC pipe screwed into the mount so it could not be snatched nor snapped off. On June 21st, 21, we found that not only was our pride flag missing, but the plastic mount had been broken off of our sign entirely. It was at this point that we had to acknowledge that this was not teenagers breaking stuff for fun, but that someone disliked our community displaying the pride flag. This time we submitted a police report, but there was little could be done without more evidence. This past June, we purchased a 5x8 vinyl sign that had the pride flag on it, along with the words, "You are loved, you are valid, you belong." The sign was suspended from the roof of our building where it hung 15 feet off the ground and was secured by bolts to the brick side of the building. 6 weeks ago, we discovered the sign was gone. To be clear, someone had climbed 15 feet up on our building, unhooked the flag from the roof, and carefully unscrewed and replaced the bolts after removing the flag. Once again, we filed a police report, but unfortunately, once again, there was little to be done. The story doesn't end here. We are purchasing another flag and have been promised continuing support from the police. Stay tuned to see how this one gets displayed.
Thank you, Ms. Light. Next up is Arjun Gupta.
Thank you. Hello and namaste. My name is Arjun and I'm a freshman at International Academy East. Diwali, or Deepavali, is a Hindu holiday widely celebrated in India and across the Hindu diaspora. The word Diwali derives from Sanskrit and means a row of lamps. Festivities include the illumination of lights, candles, firecrackers, and diyas, which are clay lamps. These symbolize the victory of good over evil, inner light over spiritual darkness, and knowledge over ignorance. Diwali is a time for gathering with loved ones, celebrating life, and committing to making the right decisions in life. Hindus recognize Diwali as a day celebrating the return of Prince Ram of Ayodhya, his wife Sita, and his brother Lakshman after 14 years of exile. Prince Ram is considered an incarnation of Lord Vishnu and an embodiment of dharma and righteousness. Sita is an incarnation of Lakshmi, who is a goddess of wealth and prosperity. And when Prince Rama returned to the residents of Ayodhya, they were all overjoyed at the return of their rightful king and lit lamps in his honor. This made the entire city look like a row of lights. Today in Ayodhya, which is the birthplace of Ram, 2.4 million diyas are lit as part of the Diwali celebrations. This is a Guinness World Record. Let me explain to you the symbolism of lighting the wick lamp during Diwali. The diya is made with an earthen clay oil, wick, and the flame. The earthen clay needs to be clean and shiny, like we keep our physical and emotional body healthy and without disease. The oil is considered as vasanas or sanskaras, which are impressions and qualities. When we burn the oil, it gives light. In the same way, it is expected that we remove bad qualities such as anger, jealousy, hatred, and intolerance towards others. Finally, the flame is our undying devotion towards the divine, universal source and infinite wisdom. In the US, most families celebrate Diwali by lighting diyas or candles in their homes and celebrate this special holiday by enjoying sweets and delicious foods with their family and friends. Generally, Diwali is celebrated over 5 days, with each day holding special significance. Once again, thank you for recognizing the Diwali festival by illuminating the City Hall to mark the occasion. Diwali is our most important festival, and we are very happy that the City of Troy is recognizing and celebrating this auspicious date with us. I wish you all a very happy and prosperous Diwali. Thank you.
All right, next up is Shrusti Basarkad.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shrusti Basarkad, and I've been a resident for about 10 years, and I'm 16 years old, and I go to Troy High School. So I'm going to be talking about Seva Diwali today. Seva is a Sanskrit word that translates to service or selfless service in English. Seva Diwali is a national initiative in the U.S. dharmic communities. Individuals and organizations like Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, Jain spiritual centers, temples, gurudwaras, linguistic, and Indian socio-cultural organizations who believe in the Seva Dharma, service to humanity is service to divinity. The mission of this initiative is to foster togetherness through selfless giving for the welfare of society by promoting the festive and enlightening spirit of Diwali. Swami Vivekananda, the monk who addressed the world's Parliament of Religions in Chicago on September 11, 1893, said, "It is only by doing good to others that one does good to oneself." In Hindu culture, charitable giving is one of the most important virtues that one takes up at an early age and continues throughout their life. People who do more charity during Diwali, a popular festival celebrated as Festival of Lights all around the world. Similarly, Thanksgiving is a festival celebrated in the U.S. as Autumn Harvest Festival. Thanksgiving is a holiday that dates back to 1621. The Native American people and the Pilgrims celebrated a harvest feast. It is now celebrated with a traditional meal shared amongst family and friends. It is also the time of the year where everyone steps up to support communities needing help. In 2022, 364 dharmic organizations and over 3,000 volunteers participated in the food donation campaign across the country and collected 630,660 pounds of food. This food was donated to 220 beneficiary organizations such as food pantries, soup kitchens, Forgotten Harvest, Veterans Home, etc. Hindu community chooses to donate all of the foods collected during the festival of Diwali to the community around the Thanksgiving holiday season so that we could bring a smile to the faces of distressed families. This year, we will conclude food collection from the community by November 16th and begin delivering the beneficiary organizations by November 22nd. To summarize, we built this initiative on the belief as mentioned by Swami Vivekananda. It is a privilege to serve humanity, for this is the worship of God. God is here, all in human souls. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next up is Dale Murish.
Good evening. First off, I wanted to congratulate Councilmember Ann Erickson Galt and Councilmember Teresa Brooks on their reelection, and I also wanted to explain a little bit about why I ran for City Council. A coworker suggested it, and I said, "You got to be kidding! Troy politics is so divisive, and you got two camps of people that don't really know each other or like each other, and distorted campaign stuff." And anyway, it was pretty bad. I had some good ideas about the Troy Transit Center. Maybe Mayor Mrs. Hodor would recognize. I had bags full of apples in my little treat bag here, and I explained that we had certain kinds of apples in our fridge and other kinds of apples we didn't really enjoy, and that is similar to people with differing ideas on the council. And anyway, I sat down next to, I usually make a practice of sitting down next to somebody that's got the opposing point of view, and I did this one time, and the lady got up and walked away, and she wondered what I had in my bag of tricks and whether I had a gun or something in there. So I said, that's not likely to happen with three police officers in the back of the room, and also that's not me. So anyway, I wanted to wish you all well, and I really wanted to join you on the council, but that hasn't happened this time, and so I'm back to being a private citizen and not a candidate anymore. So anyway, God bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Murish. Reverend Hallam, you actually do qualify to speak on L1 because you represent a business here in the city of Troy. So if you'd like to speak now as opposed to later, you can come on up.
City Council, Mr. Mayor. Recently, many of you joined us in our sanctuary at Northminster for an interfaith prayer service where we prayed for light and peace in this world. I'm so grateful for all of you who joined us for that night, and it was truly special for us to be able to host such an event. Mr. Mayor, in your comments, you specifically said that it was humbling being asked to come and speak in a house of worship. Well, now it is my turn to be humbled, as I am no longer in my sanctuary where I'm comfortable speaking, but standing in front of you where you all sit and are used to speaking. I come to you because my community that I lead is being harassed, as you heard previously. And I come to you to bring this forward because the reason we are being harassed is the same reason that we welcomed you all into that space. It's because we believe firmly in radical inclusivity and a radical welcome that extends to all people, no ifs, ands, or buts. It is the same radical welcome that we affirm our space as a place of belonging and inclusion to our LGBTQIA members and employees as a church. This belief is no passing trend for us. It began in 1992 when the PCUSA General Assembly passed an amendment to our Constitution banning the ordination of LGBTQ persons. Northminster wrote a letter of open defiance, defying the denomination, saying that we will ordain the people that we feel are called to leadership. For context, I was born in 1991, meaning that this church has held that belief for nearly my entire life. But now, when we display that belief and that support, we have people in the community breaking our flagpoles, stealing our pride flags, climbing on our roof, and unbolting it from the wall. Mr. Mayor, I have also heard you speak at many an occasion about the delight of the diversity in Troy. And that's a sentiment I am fully behind you, that our diversity is what makes us strong and what makes Troy a beautiful place to live and work. We come today asking you all if Northminster has a place in the diversity of Troy. To say yes, what we are asking you all to do is create a diversity and inclusion statement that includes gender and sexuality. It is by a diversity and inclusion statement that we will know that you think that we have a place for our ministry and the ministry of other churches and places of worship that are also being harassed similarly. So thank you for your time, and thank you for those who have joined us before.
Thank you, Reverend Hallam. That concludes those that have signed up for public comment for items not on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. Now is an opportunity for City Council and City Administration to respond and reply. Councilmember Hamilton.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Thank you for your community service to our community, and I stand with you in support of LGBT rights. I'm proud of the City of Troy displays the Pride flag during Pride Month, and I'd be honored to support what you suggested. We'll of course need a majority of council to agree, but I'm open to it. Thank you, and please contact the police to have them do everything they can to help protect your community.
Thank you, Councilmember Hamilton. Additional response? Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick.
I see familiar faces out with the group here supporting your final comments. And here we are speaking about light over darkness and God's blessing over every creature. I am sorry that you're having that experience. And it's reminiscent of when I first became involved in city politics that Mr. Murish mentioned, and we had a very divided city. To be honest, to be very vulnerable, in these political times where people look for division, of course I support what you're saying. I ran and was elected to council because I am of that belief. As I listen to you and I think of people in the community who do not share my belief, I find myself speaking to them right now to say, please do not come back and take our city council chamber and a discussion that went on in this community at the time I was involved and was elected back to a place that is very ugly and divisive. We have a lot of serious work we have to do for the city. And that type of disruption, we simply, seriously do not have time for it. And I do know that there are political actors that seize these type of topics to try to generate anger, fear, and division. And I'm just speaking up right now to say we have public safety challenges. We can meet them, but we need to be allowed the time to focus on them. And I'm really pleading for those who have a different opinion to understand that that's the case. Because I've been in this chamber when this very topic becomes hours-long disruption to the work at hand. I like to think that we're ahead of the nation, that we went through our divisive time 12 years ago, and that we've put that behind us. We haven't had a divided council in a while now. We disagree with one another sometimes, but we're not divided. We're working together to represent everyone. And so I agree, I support exactly what you're saying. I want to do so in a way that does not disrupt our work. And again, I'm speaking to those who may disagree. Please think twice about bringing division back to this city, and let's collectively decide we're not going to do that, and that we're going to keep doing the work and the collaborating that we've been experiencing in recent years. I appreciate you coming here. I sit here and I'm extremely humbled to sit here. I'm nervous every time. Your topic is very serious. It's very important. It's why I've spent 10 years of my life in this seat. And I do worry that if you're experiencing that type of vandalism at your facility, that we could end out back in a discourse that is extremely unhealthy for the community. And so I know and I trust that our police department is looking out for vandalism, not only that you might be experiencing at your place of worship, but all the places of worship in this city. That's a priority for our council always, and a priority for our public safety always. Goes almost without saying. That said, I understand why you needed to come in and say it and feel affirmed. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick. Councilmember Chamberlain Craig.
Thank you, Mayor. Reverend Northminster, I'm so sorry for what you're going through, your pain, and for coming tonight. In the city of Troy, there is no place for harassment and harassment of this kind. And what I hear you share, that's harassment. And to me, that's a crime. Like that's not what we do in this city. This is not what we're about. So while I don't have answers, I want to come alongside. You are my neighborhood, and this is why it is speaking to me. I live just up the road from you. I see my neighbors in the audience here. And so I want to come see you, and I want to stand with you and listen and learn. I want to stand with you.
Thank you, Councilmember Chamberlain Craig. Anyone else? Say a couple things. The friends who came here to speak about Diwali today, thank you, and especially for the students who came, and really appreciate you coming forward and talking and helping to educate us and teach us about what Diwali is all about. And I love that you're here, and I love that your parents are here and taking pictures of you and videos and are very supportive. And it means the world to all of us, I think, to have you here and to share some of your light in this time of light especially. So thank you for coming. And I know that we absolutely... It's our rules, but I know that I'm happy that city management and the facilities department, they got the light, City Hall lit up for Diwali, and that it looks really cool. I was here last night taking pictures so I could post it, and I think it got a lot of compliments on it, so I'm happy to do that for you. So I'm glad you came tonight, and happy Diwali to all of you, and as I was told earlier, to everyone, because we can all celebrate it. We don't just have to be Hindu. So thank you. It's also really interesting tonight to look out and see Christians, Hindus, the Jewish friends. I mean, it's sitting together all as one big happy family and community. I think that is what Troy is all about. And we talk here about, Reverend Hallam and Miss Light speaking to vandalism of any kind, obviously, is not what Troy's about, regardless of what's being vandalized and why. I mean, and I know that you've got some very powerful police officers in the back here. I know they're listening, and I know you've already spoken with them, and certainly, as we talked about, you're getting a camera, which hopefully will become great evidence for our police department to use in prosecuting whatever happens there. But to the broader issues, and I appreciate Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick and Councilmember Hamilton and Councilmember Chamberlain Krenga speaking about the solidarity and all the feelings everybody has. And I just spent the last 4 years as mayor talking about how beautiful our diversity is, and I mean that across every level. And I know that to some that's not exactly what they want to hear, because a lot of people want to have a narrow-minded view of what is right, and I respect that fully, and I also respect people with differing views on the issues especially. So we will, from the police aspect of it, obviously that's not our purview up here. That's the very capable police department who will work hard on that. We work on the policy issues and the care of our community in much other ways, so we'll take everything that was brought to us tonight and really digest it and support you in how we can in other ways as well. But thank you for bringing it forward, and that prop that you brought with the 2x4 and the nails also, I mean, absolutely terrible. So thank you for sharing it with us despite the difficulty in it, and thank you all for coming this evening. That concludes those City Council and City Administration response and reply to public comment for items not on the agenda from Troy residents and businesses. We have no council referrals this evening, so we move on to reports. There are quite a few reports this evening. Would anyone like to comment on any of the reports? No? I actually would. I just want to talk for a second about O2B, which is the Emergency Medical Services update. I see Vince Juarez is here. He was here past at the last meeting as well, I think. I didn't get a chance to say hi to you, Vince. But obviously, this city takes public safety and EMS very seriously. And if you happen to have read this report, you'll see that there's a lot going on as it relates to EMS services here in the city of Troy. And my understanding is that our next meeting will have a more solid proposal to look at or a plan forward. And I'm assuming you'll be here at that meeting as well, Vince. But I saw you out there, and I didn't want to not acknowledge your presence. And I know you care very deeply about this for a number of reasons. So appreciate that report and our focus on it as well at the city level. I think that was it. I do love hearing the nice letters that come in from people in the community thanking our police department, and those are also very important too, and it speaks a lot about the good work our police officers are doing. All right, next up is council comments. Councilmember Brooks.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. So I have a number of thank yous to go through. First of all, I just want to thank our city clerk, Aileen Dixon, and the staff in the city clerk office and all the poll workers to pull off another successful election. I know this year was even challenging because we had 9 days of early voting, and it went off without a hitch. I actually early voted. I had a wonderful experience. I was in and out. And so it was wonderful. I tried to kind of let people know about it. I think it's still early, but it's going to catch on. I think the next election there's going to be a higher turnout as far as the early voting, because it was really great. I also just want to thank everyone who came out and voted and exercised their right to vote during this last election. I think it was wonderful to see the turnout, and so it was just a wonderful event. And switching gears, I would also like to say that I attended the Uncorked Nature Center, their fundraiser, and I want to thank everyone who supported the Uncorked Nature Center event, because it was a beautiful event once again. I think the Uncorked committee, especially Carla Reeb, did an amazing job putting it all together. The turnout was actually really, really good. I think it was the best it's been in a few years. So I think they're still working on the numbers, but I think the turnout was really, really, really good. So that was wonderful. And then also on Saturday, I did attend a Diwali event at the Bharatiya Temple in Troy. And it was a beautiful event. I really enjoyed it. So happy Diwali to everybody.
Thank you. Additional council comments? Councilmember Chamberlain Krenga.
Thank you, Mayor. So I missed Diwali and missed as well. Unfortunately, Nature Uncorked had a ticket to support them, but due to family circumstances, I wish I had been there. So I look forward to next year. I really hope I can join you all. So I wanted to start by congratulating my colleagues, Councilmember Teresa Brooks and Erickson Galt, for their election victories, and I know we'll have the swearing in next week. We welcome a new member, Mark Gunn, to the team here, and so I just, again, congratulations. And also to Councilmember, now Mayor Pro Tem Ellen Horderick, and just thanking everyone for their service. And just wanted to take an opportunity just to share, as I think about, as passing of the torch of Mayor Pro Tem, the one thing that I really put a lot of time into was around the appointments to our boards and committees. I want to thank everyone, including I see in the audience still Jane Seeger, for their willingness to serve and their passion, their deep passion for these committees. I think that is something during Mayor Pro Tem, that's one of your biggest responsibilities that actually takes the most time. I want to thank all the staff members. Mark, I'd always reach out to Mark and he'd connect me to the staff liaison. So with a lot of these appointments, I was talking to staff members, talking to fellow committee members, sometimes recruiting, reading applications. And so again, I just really thank everyone. And I want to bring back to the table an idea that came. I think we mentioned last year about doing some sort of appreciation ceremony to thank folks like Jane, who has had 40 years of service on her committee, and many others who have served for years and years. I know the city used to do that. We've had COVID, but love to find a way to bring that back, to be able to really thank all of our community members, and that's for free, and that's out of your own time and own passion. So I'd love to see that. Something else I just want to bring to the fore, I've talked to city staff, I've mentioned to mayor as well, is as I was doing these appointments, some of the feedback or things I was hearing is how Troy has changed so much. And, I tried to bear that in mind as I was thinking about our appointments and folks who would be good to represent and good to work with, who Troy is. And, out of that, some feedback I was receiving is how we can always, even us on council, have further training to just be cognizant of how diverse we are as a city and how we're interacting with all of our residents and all of our diversity. And I've spoken with folks about implicit bias training, ways that I've been through that in my own work. And so again, I want to put that forward. My two things I'd love to see, in the next year or so, I'd love to see some thank you appreciation to those serving, and also think about some form of implicit bias training, starting with us on council. I know we've had staff who've done it, as well as for some of the boards and committees who serve frontline, who are taking resident applications and engaging with the residents. So just want to put those out there.
Thank you, Councilmember Chamberlain-Crainga. Additional council comments, I'll come back, but go ahead, Councilmember Erickson Galt.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to echo comments of my colleague, Dr. Teresa Brooks. We are very thankful, grateful, humbled that the voters of Troy chose to return us to another 4-year term. I think it speaks to how Troy's on the right track. We have our issues with people engaging in hateful behavior, which is unacceptable. But as a whole, our city is on the right track, and I think that's why the voters chose to return us, and we're going to work hard to make sure we stay on the right track and do the city's business. I'm also thankful for our clerk's office, for Aileen going the extra mile, literally, to make sure that the election was properly tabulated and presented to the county. Technology sometimes fails us, but the dedication of our staff can't be questioned. I'd also like to congratulate Mayor Baker, who a lot of people forget that he was reelected too.
I was waiting, okay.
He was reelected without contest because he has been doing an amazing job for the last 4 years representing our city. And I think that, again, speaks to how well the business of the city is being conducted. And I look forward to another 4 years on the council with my colleagues, and welcome Mr. Gunn to the council.
Thank you, Councilmember Erickson Gold. Hold out. Let me follow rules. Anyone else before we go back for seconds? Mayor Pro Tem Hoderick. Rules.
I just wanted to thank my colleagues for their support tonight, appointing me to be Mayor Pro Tem. For those that aren't familiar, it is a rotating position, and it's my turn in the rotation. This is my second time doing it in the years I've served. I wanted to thank Councilwoman Chamberlain Kringa for her work last year. The main role is the appointments of volunteers to serve on our boards and committees, and I would like to encourage anyone who's interested in maybe getting involved in the city, taking a look at what the boards and committees are, and maybe there's something where you have a talent, you have a gift that you might want to bring. And there's an application process online. You can always reach out to me and I can point you to that information. One of the other roles is when the mayor is not around, the mayor pro tem steps in, and I would just like to really beg and plead for Mayor Baker to always be at every meeting because he's the best meeting runner I have experienced, and it's not an easy task. I've taken the gavel once on short notice. I did not do a good job. I will not watch that meeting. It is harder than people think. And I am grateful that you're back in the position, not only because you run the meeting well, but you really work to represent the entire city. And you are the face of council out to the city, and I know that you do your best to represent all of us, and I appreciate that, and I am glad you're back in that position. I do like to tease you, to humble you, and sometimes that gets witnessed, and then people wonder if I even like him. But there's a good collegiality with our team, but we take these roles very seriously, and it's important work to come to celebrate topics like the folks did that came tonight, to share concerns. And it is very humbling to be in these roles and to try to do that to the best of our ability. And again, please don't miss any meetings. I'm very happy not taking the gavel for an entire year. Thank you.
Should we add anything, Rebecca? It's self-serving, probably. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I just had a brief comment.
Go ahead, sorry.
You didn't miss a single meeting your first term, which is pretty impressive, but also I wanted to try it at least once, and you never let any of us.
You don't want to.
No, good attendance, 100% attendance.
I'm tempting fate, but yeah.
Mayor Baker, I wanted to congratulate you. I took you for granted.
That's okay.
Congratulate you.
This is the point where city staff looks at us like, we've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. Could we finish up this meeting? But okay, thank you. Honestly, I actually planned on making an election day comment or comments about the council members reelected and the new council member at the next meeting when everyone gets sworn in. So I'm not fully prepared for that tonight. But so Aileen, if I'm not giving you a lot of thanks for your hard work on election day, know that it's coming next week. I do want to just a couple of quick things. I really do appreciate Mayor Pro Tem Chamberlain Kringa, who stepped into the role as Mayor Pro Tem and took it with you did everything to the fullest, and it's not easy to fill all the boards and committees, and I'm not sure, it's tough to transfer over to another Mayor Pro Tem and have all the boards and committees full, and that often doesn't happen, so you did it. So I do appreciate it. I know you worked harder than a lot of others have in the past. Truly, what I've witnessed and making sure that happens. So thank you for that. And of course, I didn't miss any meetings. I have missed a couple ribbon cuttings and a couple things, and you've stepped in as Mayor Pro Tem, and Anne's done it a few times. So and actually you did a groundbreaking, I remember, back when you were Pro Tem. So I appreciate all of that. I'll save these comments for next week when I talk about everything. But I did want to also mention some business. The volunteer banquet, we did talk about that. I would like to see that come back in 2024 for a number of reasons, a lot of what you mentioned tonight, but I'm hoping we can look at that. I'm not sure the best way for us to keep that on everyone's radar into the new year, but maybe we'll just bring it up again if we don't hear from it for a while. as well as the other implicit bias training options that we talked about. None of us are ever prohibited from doing our own implicit bias training. I've done some online. Could always do more. I think we could all do it. I recommend not only that, but we could also continue to talk about more of a formalized aspect of it. We do have our annual ethics training. I neglected to mention when we were talking about reports 05, which is the review of Chapter 14A, elected and appointed persons ethics ordinance. As a reminder, that's required to be on the agenda for the first meeting in November every year. We will sign it when we have a new council seated next week. My intention just right now, so you all know, is to read off some of the bullet points of that ordinance, because I think it's important that we hear them and absorb them in a different way than just having them be part of our agenda packet. And I think we could also talk about, I mentioned this in an email, and I'll mention it here again just so the rest of council is hearing about it. Our agenda packets have, and the home or the screen on our computer, our website, when you go to the ethics, right now it just has our signatures saying that we have an ethics ordinance and that we've read it. Prior to having the ordinance, we used to have basically those bullet points, those tenets of what that meant printed here as well. I don't know if there's a way to incorporate some of that to have more of a public showing, not only on our agendas, but also our website. Because I think there's bullet points there that are kind of the crux of what that ethics ordinance is and the tenets that we should be thinking about. And I wouldn't mind demonstrating that for the community as a whole. So we can talk more about that maybe when we sign next week. And I guess that's it for now. So that concludes council comments. We don't have anyone else signed up for public comment for items on or not on the agenda for members of the public outside of Troy. We have no closed session this evening, so we are adjourned.